We would like to welcome you to our 21st symposium, the 21st academic symposium. We have a lot of people also with us today organizing this. Mardin Artuklu University, at the same time, Social Sciences University of Ankara, İHA, Kudüs Shura, Academy of Islamic Jerusalem Studies, University of Utara, Malaysia, and Malaya University. Our symposium will be done for 2 days. We have very important topics that we will be discussing, and we are welcoming you to our introductory chapter. We are going to be in so many different countries. People attending this program, people from all different parts of the world are attending with us. Today is Friday. It's a day of celebration. We would like to welcome you all for being with us, and we hope that one day that this everyone will be happy by the will of Allah. We will start with the Quranic recitation of the Quran from the mosque of the mosque of Umar ibn Khattab, Al-Umari Jamia. He will be reciting for us the Quranic recitation from Beytülmakdi. Thank you very much.
نارا فإذا جاء وعد أولاهما بعثنا عليكم عبادا لنا أولي بأس شديد فجاسوا خلال الديار وكان وعدا مفعولا ثم رددنا لكم الكرة عليهم وأمددناكم بأموال وبنين وجعلناكم أكثر نفيرا إن أحسنتم لأنفسكم وإن أسأتم فلها إذا جاء وعد الآخرة ليسوء وجوهكم وليدخلوا المسجد كما دخلوه أول مرة وليتبروا ما علوا تتبيرا عسى ربكم أن يرحمكم وإن عدتم عدنا وجعلنا جهنم للكافرين حصيرا صدق الله العظيم.
From Beytülmakdi, we would like to thank Sheikh Taha Sulaiman for his recitation of these beautiful verses from Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa. This has been a very long path for Beytülmakdi. There are very important speakers that will be speaking to us today with regards to Islamic Jerusalem studies from across the whole of the world. We would like to welcome from Mardin Artuklu University. Mardin, we have the rector, president of Mardin Artuklu University will speak to us. He will take us through this. In reality, what we see over 400 years of being in the land of Beytülmakdi, that was ruled by the Ottomans for 400 years. But now we go back to our host, to the rector of Mardin Artuklu University. He will speak to us now. Please, rector of Mardin Artuklu University, please go ahead.
Esteemed Director, esteemed participant, I greet everyone with respect and affection. First of all, I would like to share with you the joy and honor of holding the 21st International Islamic Jerusalem Symposium. Very few academic activities have a continuity of 21 years. I believe that this continuity of the International Islamic Symposium is undoubtedly an important effort of especially the Israel Foundation and the academics who have given their hearts to this work. I think that an effect as important as this is the blessing of Islamic Jerusalem. While determining our topic this year, that is Mesci Al-Aqsa and future imagination of Mesci Al-Aqsa, we have progressed by answering the question of where the work we have done in the past years will lead. In fact, for the last few years, we have been trying to find the answer to this question under different headings. In 2018, we mentioned that Islamic Jerusalem Foundations, with the title of Past, Present and Future Occupation Forces of Islamic Jerusalem for more than 100 years, pursued strategies of destroying, seizing and scraping elements that could be referenced to the past in Islamic Jerusalem. Again, in 2019, we talked about the continuities and ruptures of Islamic Jerusalem and briefly summarized why today's Islamic Jerusalem should be talked about as follows. As a geography where time and space intersect, many actors and factors of human history come together and produce contrasts. We said that it was a face-to-face arrangement. This feature also makes it possible to define Beytülmakdi as the geography that is the common memory of human beings. Over 100 years of colonial Zionist occupation is following a strategy to destroy this memory. This strategy also includes an effort to turn everything about Islamic Jerusalem into a simulation that will justify the occupation by breaking away from its ontological dimension. Despite the large communities that are content with the past of Islamic Jerusalem, overlooking the presence of Islamic Jerusalem is an important part of this strategy, this simulation. The way to erase the past of Islamic Jerusalem and prepare a future in line with the occupation passes through the present. In this context, we said that in 2019, that breaking away from the ontological dimension and preventing an independent perception of reality requires concentrating on the presence of Islamic Jerusalem.
Ve zulümde sınır tanımsızlığı karşısında Mesci-i Aksa'nın geleceğini konuşmak gerektiğini düşünüyoruz.
At the point we have reached today, we think that it is necessary to talk about the future of Mesci-i Aksa in face of the indifference, bratterness, cruelty and oppression of the Zionist strategy. Mesci-i Aksa has a strategic importance as well as being a religious center. Because of its feature, Mesci-i Aksa and Islamic Jerusalem are at the center of a future problem, not only in terms of the Islamic world, but also in the global perspective. In this context, humanity's vision of the future is related to the future vision of Mesci-i Aksa. This relationship also necessitates the examination of the future is related to the future vision of Mesci-i Aksa. This relationship also necessitates the examination of the future of Mesci-i Aksa by academics. It's not only a necessity, but also a responsibility for academics to examine the future of the mosque based on its history and identity and to deal with the issue with its scientific dimensions. It's necessary to evaluate this responsibility not only as an academic, but also as a humanitarian one. Talking about this issue, especially at a time when the work of the Zionist regime for the month of Ramadan in 2022 has reached frightening levels, should be perceived as a cry to prevent the Zionist ambitions that will lead humanity to disaster. With the hope that this cry will be understood correctly, I wish the symposium to be fruitful and thank everyone who contributed.
This is a very important we would like to thank the rector of Mardin University. Now we move to the professor Musa Kazım Arjan, who is the rector of Social Sciences University of Ankara. He is one of the main organizers of this event. Please, distinguished speaker, please, the floor is yours.
I saw Mesci-i Aksa in my dream. It was crying just like a child. I put my head onto it as if my first Qibla of the Holy Nabi. Dear Mardin Artuklu University Rector, dear attendants, friends of Al-Quds and Masjid Al-Aqsa, I greet everyone with respect and affection. May Allah's barakat and rahmah will be upon us. Blessed Friday, Juma Mubarak.
From here, from Ankara, from the center, from next to the Haji Bayram Wali's mosque, to Mardin, to Jerusalem, to the whole world, we would like to welcome you. It is a pleasure that our university is part of this important symposium, and it gives us honor to be part of this academic effort on this issue. As I have said at the beginning, that this symposium has been organized by both Mardin Artuklu University together with Social Sciences University, with Qadim Academy, with University of Utara, Malaysia, and other organizers. This is our 4th international symposium. Our university, Mardin Ankara Social Sciences University, we have been doing a lot of work on the subject of Beytülmakdi and on Islamic Jerusalem, and we have taken serious steps on this issue. Particularly on Islamic Jerusalem studies. It is the first university to open a master program in Jerusalem studies, in Al-Quds studies, and we look forward to having even doctorate program on this issue in the near future. Our center
has been establishing since 2018 and has held numerous activities. Besides the conference, we also collaborate in the publication of an international journal on this issue.
Kudüs çalışmalarıyla ilgili de bir doktora programı inşallah açmaya gayret edecektir. Bunun çalışmalarını da arkadaşlarımız devam ettirmektedir. Kudüs
On this topics,
Çalışmaları Uygulama ve Araştırma Merkezimiz 2018 yılından itibaren
I would like to thank our professor Abdülfettah Al-Awaisi, Khalid Al-Awaisi, and other professors and academics who contributed.
dünyada ilk olan uluslararası bir dergi hüviyetindeki Beytülmakdi araştırmaları
This topic is
dergisinin yer
it belongs to all of us. Coming to its topic, the future of Al-Aqsa Mosque, it is indeed a very timely issue.
Profesör Doktor Abdülfettah Veysi hocamıza, doçent doktor Halid
We need to put a lot of efforts on this.
Profesör Doktor Muhittin Ataman hocalarımıza ve emeği geçen tüm hocalarımıza huzurlarınızda şükranlarımı ifade etmek.
For years, this topic has been debating as in Turkish in public sphere.
Meselesi, ümmetin meselesi ve konuyu artık bilgi temelli olarak ele almak, güçlendirmek, yaymak, sahadaki gerçekleri artık lehimize değiştirmek için
On this topic,
çabalar ortaya koymamız
we have a certificate program which is ongoing.
bu konu yıllardır Türkçe olarak Türkiye kamuoyunda
Also in Turkey, from different ages and different groups, lots of students are involved in this project, in this certificate.
kamuoyu oluşturmaya yönelik ve bir bilinç
Currently, it's going on in English
oluşturma konusunda çabalarımızda sürdürüyoruz.
from all over the world till Indonesia. Our students
Bir sertifika
are taking this education.
şu anda da yürümektedir.
The topic of our symposium, which will last for 2 days, is very timely and important.
programlardan mezun olmaktadır.
Right now, we start to talk about the future imagination of Mescid al-Aqsa.
İngilizce olarak
We have to create something on this issue.
Amerika'dan Endonezya'ya kadar dünyanın birçok bölgesinden öğrencimiz bu eğitimi almaya devam etmektedir.
No peace and justice remained in this land after the Ottoman Empire.
Çok önemli. Mescid-i Aksa'nın
It's the 104th year
önümüzde durmaktadır. Artık gerçekten Mescid-i Aksa'nın
since Al-Quds was occupied by the British, and 54 years since Al-Aqsa fell into Zionist occupation.
geleceğini zorundayız.
An occupation that has lasted so long because of wrong strategies in dealing with it. Knowledge and creating knowledge is paramount in ending the occupation and liberating ourselves, first from the intellectual Nakba,
İngilizler tarafından işgal edilmesinin 104. yılı.
that the Muslim Ummah is experiencing is the first step in liberating Al-Aqsa Mosque and Palestine.
Yanlış stratejiler nedeniyle bu kadar uzun süre devam eden bir işgal ile
We have to defeat the real enemy.
bilgi ve bilginin üretimi, işgali sona erdirmek
First step of liberating Mescid al-Aqsa and Palestine is to do it.
Ümmet-i Muhammed'in bu yaşadığı entelektüel felaketi
First of all, we have to provide the community of Islam, and we have to work on that.
gerçek düşmanı
International law
Mehmet
and
Akif'in ifadesiyle hasm-ı hakikiyi
most of the world
yenmemiz gerekiyor.
recognize that Al-Aqsa and Jerusalem is under occupation,
İlk adımı
with the exception of few countries like the USA,
entelektüel felaketten kurtulmamız ve tevhidi, İslam'ı, İslam ümmetinin birliğini
including United Nations. Everyone says that this is an occupation state.
gerekmektedir. Uluslararası hukuk ve dünyanın
Yet,
Amerika Birleşik Devletleri gibi birkaç ülke dışında Mescid-i Aksa ve Kudüs'ün işgal altında olduğunu
this occupation must be done, which is the longest occupation in our modern history.
Amerika ve İsrail
Again, the United States
sadece
supports.
işgal olmadığını söylemekte ama Birleşmiş Milletler dahil tüm uluslararası
Unfortunately, Al-Quds is declared as the eternal capital of Israel.
işgalinin devam ettiğini
They are violating the whole international law concepts.
en uzun bu işgal sona erdirilmelidir. Bir an önce bu işgal durdurulmalıdır.
Unfortunately, all Muslim countries except Turkey are silent on that issue.
Amerika Birleşik Devletleri'nin desteğiyle ne yazık ki Kudüs,
In that issue,
İsrail'in
the bravest voice comes from Recep Tayyip Erdogan, who is the president of Turkey,
ve büyükelçiliğini de oraya taşıyarak tüm uluslararası hukuku ihlal etmiştir.
by saying that we do not recognize this call and went against that.
Tüm dünya gibi Türkiye dışındaki
As Turkey, we declared that we do not accept this decision and we will do everything we can to
cesur sesi
make it
Türkiye
disactive.
Cumhurbaşkanı Sayın Recep Tayyip Erdoğan karşı çıkmış.
Dear Islamic Jerusalem friends, unfortunately,
olduğunu ve bu kararı tanımadığımızda ilan etmiştir. Ve bu karara da asla boyun eğmeyeceğimizi ve Türkiye
unfortunately, we are seeing
kaldırılması
a dispute between Muslim countries on this issue as well.
koyacağını tüm dünya kamuoyuna deklar etmiştir. Değerli Kudüs dostları, maalesef
Unfortunately, it's continuing its persecution by taking some Muslim countries with them.
Müslüman coğrafyanın, Müslüman milletlerin
We should not be silent on this persecution.
İsrail
Because the future of Mescid al-Aqsa is the future of all Ummah.
ne yazık ki halkı
And
Müslüman olan bazı
Ummah's future is Mescid al-Aqsa's future.
yanına çekerek
And all the humanity's future.
zulmüne devam etmektedir.
Mescid al-Aqsa is not only the first Qibla of Muslims,
Bu zulme daha fazla sessiz
also it's one of the first masjids.
Mescid-i Aksa'nın geleceği tüm ümmetin geleceği.
Also,
Ümmetin geleceği Mescid-i Aksa'nın geleceğidir.
is one of the milestones of
Dahası
our
aslında insanlığın
belief.
geleceğidir bu mesele.
Therefore,
Mescid-i Aksa
Islamic Jerusalem's future and Mescid al-Aqsa's future is
yeryüzünde
humans' future.
mukaddes üç mukaddes şehirlerimizden birisi değildir. Aynı
Therefore, we
zamanda
have to handle this issue as humanitarian issue.
inancımızın
It's not only Mescid al-Aqsa's
bizim tüm
future.
peygamberler, ilk peygamberlerden itibaren inanmamız gereken inancımızın temel noktasıdır ve insanlığın merkezidir burası.
This persecution and occupation should be over as much as possible.
Mescid-i Aksa'nın geleceği insanlığın geleceğidir.
And we have to give life to Islamic Jerusalem as Muslims' capital.
Gelecek tasavvuru olarak ele almalıyız. Mescid-i
It's very important to work on this.
Aksa'nın geleceği değildir.
This is not only a necessity, but also a
O nedenle bir
responsibility.
buradaki zulmün durdurulması, Filistin'in özgür bir devlet
To save that Holy Land should not be just a dream.
Kudüs'ün Filistin'in başkenti olarak Müslümanların
Now this violent occupation should end,
tabii bu konuları akademik olarak ele almak,
and some things should be done.
ortaya koymak
And on this issue, we have to continue more systematic,
bu aynı zamanda bir sorumluluktur,
more scientific.
vecibedir. Artık
I'm very hopeful,
diyarın
and
kurtulması
the studies going till so far
bir hayal, bir rüya olmamalı. Artık bu vahşi işgalin,
and all these studies are
vahşetin durdurulması için ciddi stratejiler
should be turned into
olması gerekiyor.
de facto
Bu
studies.
konuda daha sistematik, daha disiplinli, daha ilmi,
And as a last point,
bir çalışmalar dizisi sergilenmelidir. Ben ümit varım, şu ana kadar yapılan
and we are at a crossroad for all sciences.
işbirliği içerisinde yaptığımız bu dört
Now this digital world, which we are all involved in, including
inşallah
and
bu çalışmalar
including
iyi adımlara dönüşmelidir, dönüşecektir diye düşünüyorum. Evet, son olarak
and as Muslims, we have to look at that future in a more moral perspective.
bir yol ayrımındayız.
We have to consider the science's affection
Yeni durum, dijital dünya,
while studying on this.
robotik gelişmelerin, biyolojik, kimyasal silahların çok yoğun olarak artık tüm insanlığı sarmaladığı,
By looking at this issue in a more moral perspective,
biz Müslümanlar olarak bu geleceği daha
and we have to shape Mescid al-Aqsa's future in a better way.
bilimin de ahlakiliğini, bilimin de merhametini
Every Ramadan, Israel
bu geleceği
occupation state
ve bu
goes on with its persecution and violation of law.
geleceğini, insanlığın geleceğini daha ahlaki ve daha merhametli bir şekilde tanzim ederken
And I wish this symposium to be successful
Kudüs'ünde
and
Mescid-i Aksa'nın da geleceğini daha iyi bir şekilde şekillendirmeliyiz. Her Ramazan
and I wish to
İsrail terör devleti
and I wish to stop this laziness.
yeni bir inşallah
And also I greet you all hoping
olmaması için şimdiden de tedbirlerin
and
alınmasını
this symposium will be successful, and
ittihadımıza vesile olmasını, kurtuluşumuza vesile
I greet you
olmasını,
all with respect and affection, all hoping and wishing that the next conference will be in Al-Quds, inshallah.
bitkinlikten, miskinlikten,
Thank you.
tembellikten kurtulmamıza vesile olmasını, yeni bir uyanışa, dirilişe vesile olmasını diliyorum. Akademi hocalarımıza, bu sempozyumda konuşacak, fikirlerini bizlerle
I would like to thank the rector of Social Sciences University of Ankara from the vicinity of Haji Bayram for his beautiful words and this city that has been created in the heavens and come down to the earth, the city of Al-Quds. We're not talking about Eastern or Western Jerusalem. We're talking about the capital of both Muslims and Palestine. Now, across the screen from me, I can see an individual that I really enjoy his company. Now we will give the word after him. Then we will listen to Ismail Haniya. But first, we will listen to the person that started the work and the one that constructed this work on Beytülmakdi in Turkey. He started this work in Istanbul, and then he came to Social Sciences University of Ankara through knowledge, through the importance of knowledge. He is and he has been able to transfer much of the work on this issue. Now I would like to give the microphone to the one that established the field of Islamic Jerusalem studies. First we will listen to Professor Abdul Fattah Al-Awaisi, and then after him we will listen to Ismail Haniya. We would like to listen to Professor Abdul Fattah Al-Awaisi now. In the name of Allah.
Çok değerli hocamız Profesör Doktor Abdülfettah El-Avaisi'ye kulak vereceğiz. Beytülmakdi Çalışmaları Vakfı
We will hand you over to Professor Abdul Fattah Al-Awaisi, who will speak to you now.
Kıymetli Abdülfettah hocamla
In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most kind.
olacağız, kendisini dinleyeceğiz. Yüksek müsaadeleriyle yine bu kıymetli
The
çalışmaları
road plan that is presented in the Quran for the liberation of Beytülmakdi gives us 3 points. The first is to disgrace the faces of the children of Israel. The second is to enter the mosque as it was entered by Umar ibn al-Khattab. And the third is to destroy what they have done. We learn that the next step for the liberation of Al-Aqsa Mosque is related to first disgracing and showing the real face of Zionism, of this occupation, showing the real face through work that continues on this issue. And one of the most important issues is knowledge, that is soft power, because soft power is really important in this, and that is knowledge. And from the movement of history and from the Quran and Hadith, we know that knowledge through idrak and reaching the stage of understanding that leads to change and action is extremely important and the pinnacle of this work. It is, we learn from this experience that before the military conquest, we need to first have the knowledge conquest. And let me stop with you at the words that when the liberation of Al-Aqsa that have taken place before this, and I quote here directly from Salah ad-Din, on the day that he liberated Al-Aqsa Mosque, he says, "Do not think that I have liberated this land with your swords. I have liberated it with the knowledge of the Al-Qadi al-Fadil, this great scholar." End of quote. What we see here is that knowledge is extremely important and comes way before any other preparation or even military action. Knowledge that Al-Qadi al-Fadil, that is known as Muhyiddin, the reviver of religion, is extremely important in this sense. He represents knowledge, and on the other side, the one that represents the military action was Salah ad-Din, who was known as the victorious. Here we see an important fact, that there has to be a partnership between both knowledge and power. It cannot be enough just to have one or the other. They need to work hand in hand in this issue. The field of Islamic Jerusalem studies, the field of Beytülmakdi, started 30 years ago, more than 3 decades ago, from the city. The dream of it started from the city of Al-Khalil in Palestine, and then from the mihrab of Al-Aqsa Mosque, then from institutionalized in Britain, and now the new beginning, a new field coming from Turkey, which is taking a pioneering role in this issue. The field of Islamic Jerusalem studies and the family of this field have worked over the last few decades to try to shape the future history through giving the importance for making knowledge as an important part of this of the liberation. Instead of going into the idea of being responsive, the idea here is to create action and not just to respond to the other's action. And here, what is important is that knowledge is at the level of what we call idrak, and idrak is what makes you, gives you the drive to be able to change and to reach the level. And here we talk about one of the prophetic sunnahs, which is giving hope and spreading hope. Here, knowledge is not just for knowledge, but knowledge that gives you the power to make a change. Knowledge is not just for knowledge, just to add information and accumulate it. The knowledge here that we're talking about is fruitful knowledge that will take your thinking into action, into strategic action. And this is why the field of Islamic Jerusalem studies have developed numerous strategies to create action, to create knowledge, to show the Islamic narrative on Beytülmakdi and and to be able to achieve this. To be able to achieve this, they have been able to create an army of scholars that specialize in Beytülmakdi studies, in Islamic Jerusalem studies, through providing scholarships to study masters and PhD in this topic. Secondly, creating knowledge and spreading knowledge, and to show the Islamic and narrative and Islamic identity of this holy land of Beytülmakdi through the symposiums, the conferences that we started in 1997. From that day, we both started the International Symposium, the International Conference, and the International Journal. And now we have even introduced a curriculum for youngsters from the age of 7 to the age of 18. And also we have institutionalized studying past masters, PhD, using the name Islamic Jerusalem Studies. And we insisted on using the word Islamic because when you mention in the West Jerusalem, most people only think of either a Christian or a Jewish Jerusalem. So we insisted on using the word Islamic Jerusalem, and this is why the field was established with this name. Fourthly, establishing Islamic Jerusalem studies within Muslim universities, and we were able to achieve this by establishing the Institute of Excellence for Islamic Jerusalem Studies at the University of Utara, Malaysia, at UUM. And then this was successful at the Social Sciences University of ASPO in 2013, 2018, and the first Islamic Jerusalem Studies master's program in the Middle East at Ankara Social Sciences University. And from this year in Turkish and in Arabic, Mardin Artuklu University have introduced their master's program. Also, we have the diploma program that we have developed, Step Towards Beytülmakdi, which was done over a full year, started with 3 girls in 2013, and now we have graduated thousands of students, which has spread to more than 40 provinces in Turkey. This conference comes to capitalize on this work. The 21st Symposium comes with leaders of this Ummah, rectors of universities, to discuss for the first time the future of Al-Masjid Al-Aqsa, while this Muslim Ummah is at a crossroad, and it comes on a very important anniversary. It's been 34 years since the first Intifada in this month, in the month of December. Today, actually, it's been 29 years since Israel expelled hundreds of Palestinians in 1992 to South Lebanon, and on the forefront was my dear brother Ismail Haniya, the great Mujahid, who was expelled to South Lebanon in 1992. And the third anniversary that we live through today is the British occupation of Beytülmakdi and Palestine. That it is a Western project. It's a project that was created as a buffer state by the British for Western interest, and not just them. Also, most of Arab states are in this issue. And here I would like to stop at the crime that the British have made recently, in which the British Parliament has approved criminalizing the Islamic resistance movement of Hamas. This stupid decision taken by this arrogant decision taken by the British government can only be described as a stupid, arrogant decision, where every nation in the world, according to all laws, have the right to resist the occupation. This is an occupation, as was mentioned, and this British legislation needs to be challenged, and this shows that Britain is not backing down from what it has done in the beginning of the 20th century, the crime it has done in the beginning of the 20th century. Britain seems to only be continuing in this regard. And it is certain that this buffer state will end together with the other states that were created also by Britain, namely much of the Arab states. Here we need to work strategically to try to end this strategic project. According to the theory of Ibn Khaldun and also international relations theory, and seeing the changes that are taking place today in the land of Beytülmakdi and in the region as a whole, I can say that we are moving in the direction of ending this occupation. Actually, you can say that this state has reached its pinnacle and has done the biggest corruption in this region. It is nearly 80 years old, this state, and we know from various sciences and various studies that this state will not last much longer from the movement of history. As the Crusader Latin state of Jerusalem ended, this actually can change. Here you can say how can change happen quickly. Actually, we can actually see from the movement of history that changes can actually take place in a relatively quick time. From 2017, we have seen the changes that have taken place in the whole of the region, and this is as a precursor to the great earthquake that will take place, that will end the not just the Zionist state, but other buffer states in the region. Here we can only either be part of this earthquake that will end this injustice, or be on the other side of history and be destroyed by this earthquake. Let me conclude. Let me conclude by saying that this 21st conference came nearly a quarter of a century ago that we started in 1997. We have been successful in this civilized project in the last 3 decades in moving stagnant water and creating knowledge and trying to guide thoughts and movements that can help in the liberation of Beytülmakdi. However, we continue to work on scholars, and we have moved besides academic work. We have now moved to academic knowledge spreading work amongst Muslim communities across the whole of the Muslim world in order to present the Islamic narrative. As the international field is the international team of Islamic Jerusalem studies that spreads across the world, has started to work on numerous issues to make sure that the issue of Beytülmakdi is able to reach Muslims across the world. Let me conclude by asking Allah to accept the work that has been done, and that all this effort has been done for the liberation of this land. So we hope that we will be able to witness the liberation of this land. And all this work that has been done over the last 30 years, we hope that we will see the fruits of this. Actually, this will not just be the liberation of Al-Aqsa or just the liberation of Palestine, but this will be a new start for the Muslim Ummah, a new a rising of the Muslim Ummah that will make humanity go to a new level. And I am certain that the ending of occupation is certain. The ending of occupation will happen. We learned this from historic movement of history, and we learned this from the various sciences. Here, let me conclude and hope to see this day. We would like to thank Professor Abdel Fattah Al-Awaisi for these words. And on this road that takes us towards the liberation of Beytülmakdi, I would like to thank him immensely. Here,
niyaza eşlik ediyoruz. Rabbimiz inşallah bu seher cuma vaktinde bir niyaz olarak, bir yakarış olarak kabul eylesin. Bu çalışmaların kıymetli öncüsü Profesör Doktor Abdülfettah El-Avaisi hocamıza şükranlarımızı sunuyoruz. Rabbim Beytülmakdis'in özgürlüğüne, fethine giden bu kutlu yolculukta
we greet Salatin Ayyubi at that special time.
Evet, bizler
We are still providing its water supplies and known as everyone who has been living there as trusted, and we all salute them. We greet Sultan Abdülhamid, who says we will never create blood in this holy land, and his companions. We greet everyone
semtinde, Kudüs
supporting
şehrinde
this cause
yaşayan
and
herkese
all
emin olarak
Palestinians who are
Abdülhamid'i,
involved in this.
Kanuni Sultan Süleyman, Yavuz Sultan
We greet
Selim ve tüm
everyone.
emirleri
We greet
selamlarız.
every
Bizler
precious
bu Yavuz
Muslim
toprağı asla ama asla kan dökeriz
who
de
were
son
killed
esere teslim etmeyiz diyen Sultan Abdülhamid Han'ı selamlarız.
in
Rahmetle
this
anarız.
cause.
Bizler Şeyh Ahmet Yasin'i ve onun kıymetli onurlu arkadaşlarını selamlarız. Bizler Abdülaziz Rantisi ve onun kıymetli
We greet Sheikh
davasını,
Said Salah and his companions who have been struggling in
bizler
this.
Mavi Marmara şehitlerini ve o kutlu yolculukta yer alan kıymetli, onurlu, izzetli Müslümanları ve tüm insanlığı
And
selamlarız.
greet everyone who has been
Russell Corey, insanlık adına çıktığı yolculukta buldozerler tarafından öldürülen o kıymetli insanı selamlarız. Bizler kutsal belde
right now. I would like to
kutlu yolculuğunu sürdüren bu
I would like to greet Ismail Haniyeh, Hamas's president, and we would like to say in the name of all youth in the world, and we thank him and give the word.
Canıyla bedel ödeyen, kanıyla bedel ödeyen her türlü zorbalığa rağmen bu kutlu yüce davayı kaldırıp arşı inleten kıymetli mücahitleri selamlarız. Şimdiden sözü kıymetli Hamas siyasi
In the name of Allah, the most merciful, the most kind,
beyefendiye takdim etmek
we would
istiyorum.
like to greet everyone
Dünyadaki ümmeti Muhammed'in gençliği
on
adına
this
bu kutlu
blessed
programa
day,
katılımları sebebiyle
on
teşekkürlerimizi arz
this
ederek
day
kıymetli heyecan
of
verici
Friday,
konuşmalarını bizlere takdim etmek üzere sözü kendisine takdim ediyorum.
this
Buyurun
conference
efendim.
that brings together
Bismillahirrahmanirrahim.
all these scholars, politicians, academics who stand here for Jerusalem, for Al-Quds, the future of Al-Quds. Let me first say that I would like to extend my thanks to this annual conference under the name of the Conference of Beytülmakdi. I listened to these enlightening words from the rector of Mardin Artuklu and from the rector of Social Sciences University of Ankara. Also, I would like to thank my brother, Professor Al-Awaisi, who was with us when we were expelled from Palestine to South Lebanon in 1992, when he established, while we were expelled, immediately he established a university in the camp known as the University of Ibn Taymiyyah, and knowledge was spread from the borders of Marj al-Zuhur to the rest of the Lebanon and to the rest of the Muslim world. Dear friends and comrades, this conference is taking place after the events and the war that took place on 28th of Ramadan, when it started from Beytülmakdi, from Al-Aqsa Mosque, and then spread to the rest of Palestine, every part of Palestine. This battle, the Battle of Sayf al-Quds, meant that the people in Gaza responded with their power to try to confront this Zionist occupation. And it is important that we need to remember during this symposium that Al-Qassam Brigade actually took a very important very important action, and called it the shield of Al-Quds. They did this, the brigades of Azzuddin al-Qassam, they called this the shield of Al-Quds, and the last war was named as the sword of Al-Quds. And this, we can actually say that what is happening and what Islamic resistance in Palestine is doing, whether in the West Bank or in Gaza, will never give up its responsibility on defending Al-Quds with everything that we have in our hands. Whatever this will cost us, we shall never give up defending Al-Quds. I say this as the Zionists are planning in the next Ramadan to Judaize, or what they call Judaizing the city, the region, and even the mosque, because now we see that the Zionists have changed from touristic entertainment visits into Al-Aqsa. They have started making religious visits and prayers inside Al-Aqsa Mosque to enforce spatial and division of the mosque. Not just a spatial division, but also in terms of temporal division. Let me tell them that they will not succeed. They will not succeed because we will stand not just as Palestinians and not just as Muslims, but as free people of the world. The issue of Al-Quds is not just a Palestinian issue, it is also an Arab, Muslim, and a human issue, and affected the past, the present, and also affects the future. My dear friends, yesterday a great mujahid in the West Bank, together with the sword of Al-Quds, the battle that took place, we certainly say that this is still, we are still strong on this, and also on the shield of Al-Quds. But we saw that yesterday, although many people are unfortunately supporting the occupation, but we saw that yesterday a young individual, a young mujahid, was able to stand and to take action with his own hands, and to be able to break this occupation. And we will break these chains that are surrounding Al-Aqsa and Beytülmakdi. This morning, tens of thousands of our people went this morning to Al-Aqsa Mosque, and this morning's prayer was known as the prayer of thawabit, steadfastness, to say that we are not going to change, break, or give up there is a sword
هي ثوابت
that
غير قابلة
that attacks, and there is a shield that protects, and there is the Jerusalemites who are inside Al-Aqsa,
في ساحات المسجد
Al-Aqsa
الأقصى
Mosque,
وأمة حاضنة بالتالي
and an ummah that supports this.
غير قابلة
Today, Friday,
للتصرف
29 years ago, we were expelled from Palestine.
من الظروف
And the Zionist regime thought
وقبل
that
29 عام كان الإبعاد
by
نعم
expelling Palestinians, they will end the Intifada and cripple the Palestinians.
تنهي الانتفاضة
Today
تضرب في العمق
is the anniversary of our expulsion
المتوقع
on Friday, 17th of December,
وكان الإبعاد أيضا
1990,
تاريخيا حيث وصلنا
1992.
إلى جنوب لبنان فجر يوم الجمعة
Actually,
يوم 17
the expulsion into exile into southern Lebanon was a changing point in Hamas's history.
مقاومة في تاريخ
Hamas did not stop. Hamas continued on this path, protecting even more steadfast, stronger, and we will protect our people even with our bare chest. And we have been able to establish our narrative on this issue. These symbolic important issues in this context
على مستوى
is to emphasize that the future
الاستحضار لبعض هذه
of Beytülmakdi
في
is ours.
هذا السياق
And in this
تأكيد
future
على أن
vision,
المستقبل لبيت المقدس
this Zionist occupation will not have,
وجود ولا مستقبل
will not exist.
الاحتلال الصهيوني والمشروع الصهيوني على أرض فلسطين
And we see this actually from all the steadfastness that have taken place and the resilience of the people on the ground and what we see
والقدرة على أننا سنرسم المعادلات
on the land of Palestine in particular.
صراع المشاعر
Here I would like
وصراع الإرادات
to
التي تمر
as
بنا
part of this symposium, of this conference, I would like to point out two important issues.
هنا أريد ومن باب الإسهام
The
في هذا
first,
المؤتمر أن أشير إلى
the first
محورين
reaches four important points.
المحور الأول يتضمن أربعة
The first is that with our fight, with our struggle,
هناك إطار معرفة
with
يجب أن
this Zionist occupation, and to protect our holy sites, is related to knowledge.
في سياق حمايتنا
To emphasize that
لمقدساتنا
the issue of Palestine
فلسطين
is an Islamic issue
المقدس.
and a human issue,
النقطة الأولى
as well as being an Arab-Palestinian issue.
فلسطين
Palestine
هي قضية
and Jerusalem
إسلامية
is the issue of the Ummah and not the issue of just one nation.
قضية أيضا فلسطينية عربية
You may know that
فلسطين والقدس
the great Sultan Salah ad-Din,
ليست قضية شعب
may Allah be pleased with him, and ended the Crusader occupation,
لأن الناصر
particularly in Beytülmakdi and across the Muslim world, when they occupied this land for nearly 90 years. When he liberated Al-Aqsa Mosque,
بلاد المسلمين
he
وتحديدا
mentioned to the liberating soldiers,
أكثر من 90 عام بعد أن حرر
he created neighborhoods around
كنا في جيش الفتح
Al-Aqsa Mosque to protect it.
ورباط
Turkish, North African,
هذا شامي
Yemeni,
ليبي وهذا تركي وهذا
each one
كل ما
that
هذا يمني
participated in the liberation
وحضر في جيش الفتح
all of them had their share in staying in the city. But this actually shows us that this issue we see that those protecting it and those who settled in the city were from these different places. It's an emphasis that it is the issue of the Ummah. Here, I would like to make reference to what Professor Abdel Fattah al-Uwaisi mentioned when he mentioned about chapter of Al-Isra, which sits in the heart of the Quran, chapter 15 of the Quran. And this actually is saying that Al-Aqsa and Palestine is the heart of the Ummah. Even if anyone would like to come and occupy, they will not be able to continue. The second point that I would like to say here, that we need to strengthen in this idea that the real enemy of the Ummah is this Zionist occupation. Because we know that some people are trying to change the campus and to try to argue otherwise. But what we see in this regard, that the normalization effects that are taking place, unfortunately, by many of the Arab nations or Arab states, we see this very sad issue. Actually, they are trying to mix up the papers and to try to argue that this is a legitimate state and normalize effects with it. And on this point, we would like to emphasize that this Zionist project is the main enemy of this Ummah. We need to emphasize that Al-Quds is the center and the focal of the conflict. I say this because it is what unites us. There are many chapters of this conflict: land, prisoners, besieged, refugees. All of them are main chapters of this conflict. However, at the top of all these issues that unites this Ummah, as happened in the battle last Ramadan, the sword of Al-Quds, the whole world united with us, because the only reason that all of them united around this is because the Al-Quds was at the center of this issue. And we need to rebuild in our generation what Al-Quds actually means. And Al-Quds, the Jerusalem, is the start and the finish. It was the ending point of the night journey and the starting point of the ascension. And on the other side, it was the end of the Mi'raj and the start of the return. And here we say, he who betrays Al-Quds betrays Allah, and the one that supports it then supports and stands on this issue. And this is a very important topic. The fourth thing that I would like to say is that resistance is the only strategic way for liberation. Neither negotiation, nor normalization, neither bowing down to this Zionist hegemony or accepting the American demands.
ولا التطبيع
We have tried all of this.
ولا الركوع أمام الهيمنة الصهيونية
We have tried this path that was just a waste of time.
ولقد
And the results of it actually were very painful.
كل هذا المسار
Like we have liberated
وكانت محصلته محصلة مؤلمة
Beytülmakdi through this ummah,
كما
through standing in
بيت المقدس
in one stance
عبر
together. We have liberated it before together as one. There is,
الرجل الواحد
we need to emphasize to our new generation, there is no other way to liberate Palestine and Beytülmakdi except through this way. And here I would like to
تنجز تحرير
reaffirm to you, from my humble position as the leader of the Islamic movement of Hamas,
برئاسة حركة
that we will continue in the resistance and jihad. We're not going to back down. We will stay steadfast,
استراتيجية تراكم القوى
and we are in a much better position
وفي الجهاد
than our enemy.
مستمرون في الثبات والصمود
His situation, both locally, regionally, and globally, although whether he shows that they have a strength on the ground and try to show this, but we are much stronger than our enemy on this. And we see that our people, although under occupation for 100 years, have not backed down from revolting and making numerous intifadas to fight this,
انتفاضة وراء الانتفاضة ويخوض الحروب
and knowing that
هو شعب
Allah has promised us, Allah has given us the word
لأنه يستمد قوته وبقاءه
that He will
من رب عظيم
protect and give us victory.
مكذوب في نصر أعداء في نصر أولياء
And this ummah that is behind us, that gives us steadfastness and keeps us on the right, keeps us on the right way. The second
أسباب
issue that I would like to discuss with you, and final issue I would like to discuss with you, what do we need to do to end this civilizational
حسم هذا الصراع
conflict with
الحضاري مع العدو الأصلي وأذكر هنا خمس أو
the first thing that I would like to say,
على وجه السؤال
that first is we have to
هو الاشتباك
all engage with this Zionist occupation, each one from his position, from his place. That's it. We have to make an open engagement with this occupation forces and start this. And the people in Palestine,
مرابطون
the people in Palestine, they are not stopping the military, but we also need to work on all other sides, legal. This is for us as an ummah. This open engagement with the enemy, academic, legal, in every sense, we need to work and engage openly for us to be able to achieve this. Each one to be able to do it from his location within his capabilities.
من إنجاز
This is extremely important, that each one takes his responsibility and take it forward. The second point that I would like to mention to you is the
بكل
jihad, economic or financial jihad.
ليس التبرعات
And I say here
لأن الله سبحانه
I say here that I use the word jihad because this is the Quranic terminology. The Quran says, make jihad with your money and your souls. And making jihad with money is, I'm not asking for donations or saying donations. This is jihad with the money. Allah in the Quran mentions it numerous times in the Quran, 9 out of 10 he starts with financial jihad before actually military jihad. And we have strategic projects that have not been able to be achieved because of limited resources. So this is extremely important. The third point I would like to mention is we have to surround and besiege our enemy. How do we surround and besiege our enemy? The BDS movement is extremely important. Academic boycott is very, very important in this regard.
لها تأثير وتأثير كبير جدا على هذا الصعيد. ونحن إذ نتابع استطلاعات الرأي على مستوى المجتمعات الغربية اليوم.
We see that 60% of the population see that Israel is a threat to the security of the world. And I would like here to thank what Professor Abdel Fattah, rector of Mardin and rector of Ankara, I really would like to thank them for the work that they have been doing to spread this knowledge in order for us to see the future of Beytülmakdi. Their work is extremely important. We need to besiege our enemy and surround them from every side, from every part that we do. We need to also say here when that Al-Quds is the center of our issue. And here I say that Palestine, Al-Quds, is the capital of Palestine. And here I don't mean the West Bank and Gaza. I'm talking about every part of Palestine, from Rashrash to An-Naqura. And here I say, in front of you, in the name of Hamas, that our promise that Palestine is, we're not talking about Palestine in a sense of 1967 borders. I'm talking about the whole of Palestine. And I affirm with you this issue. And it's been, actually, we were celebrating our 34th anniversary and our shuhada that have passed away. Sheikh Ahmed Yassin, Rantisi, Jamal Mansour, Imad Aqil, Yahya Ayyash, Al-Qawasmi, Abu al-Hannoud. These great shuhada that we need to remember that have passed away on this path. And the last of them was Sheikh Fadi Abu Shkhadim, the son of Beytülmakdi, the Jerusalemite, who has numerous academic achievements. He's a scholar, and at the same time, he took his weapon and put it in the hearts of our enemy in the alleyways of Beytülmakdi. He's a scholar, and he fought, he made jihad with his knowledge, and then he taught us the fiqh of jihad. He fought, he made jihad with his knowledge first, and then he made jihad with his own blood, and he put himself on the line. It is important to reconnect the Ummah with Al-Quds and the importance of this in every dimension. There is no East Jerusalem and West Jerusalem. And there is the deal of the century and the announcement of the Americans that Jerusalem is the eternal capital of Israel. We put it under our feet. We destroy it with our voices, with our throats, with our rockets, with our ribat in it, with making our ribat in our first Qibla in Beytülmakdi. The fifth point I would like to say is knowledge. My dear brothers and sisters, knowledge is one of the most important weapons, and it's a strategic weapon. Let me tell you that your brothers in Palestine need scholars from every field. This ummah has been supporting the resistance with their minds, with their thoughts, with their ideas. For example, the Tunisian scholar who supported Zwari, who supported our people with technology that managed to change issues. There are many other scholars that are who support us from across the Muslim Ummah that I don't want to share their names now, but we need to establish our project with academic theory and how we can develop our knowledge. And here I would like to call on all the scholars of this ummah to support us and to give us the zakah of their ilm for the liberation of Bayt al-Maqdis. So to support us with their ideas, with their theories, for us to be able to for them to pay the zakah of their knowledge. The last point I would like to refer to, the sixth and last point, is the media. The media, they have been trying to move our young generation away from the issue of Bayt al-Maqdis. We need to have a strategic media strategy that we are able to change the situation. They want to turn upside down the realities of the truth. You've heard recently some of them who try to argue that Al-Aqsa is not in Bayt al-Maqdis, or a mosque in the middle of Africa is the same as Al-Aqsa Mosque, to try to say that Al-Quds is the capital of the Zionist state. Those people who, these fools who try to go within the Zionist agenda are very problematic. Here, we need to have a clear media strategy for us to be able to achieve and be successful in creating knowledge. The one that is successful in changing perceptions is then victorious in the issue of creating a new generation that will make a change. For us, I would like to conclude with saying that we are on the verge of concluding this conflict, and we are more certain of the victory of Allah. Although this Zionist state, which claims that it has the strongest army in the world, it cannot even dare enter a few meters into Gaza. The last 4 wars it entered, it tried to destroy the resistance, and now we were able to destroy them. The whole of Palestine is in our hands. We can reach with our rockets the whole of occupied Palestine. We have changed the equation during this last war. Let me confirm to you that this enemy is living a political crisis and a security crisis across the whole world, whether in the south, north, east. We need to prepare ourselves
على جبهات متعددة.
for this,
كان في قلب فلسطين أو
and
جبهة
we need
الجنوب
to
أو جبهة الشمال.
and move the ummah from being just our supporters to be our partners. And here I would like to, as
وننقل الأمة
and
إلى
here
استراتيجية
we
الدعم
are
والإسلام
in Turkey
إلى استراتيجية الشرع.
having this conference,
وهنا
and we would like to really thank Turkey for what it has done, its people,
على أرض تركيا العزيزة
institutions,
بكل اعتزاز.
and here across the whole spheres of Turkish society, they support the issue of Palestine, not just with words, they have even put their blood on the line. The 9 angels that passed away or were killed, martyred on the Mavi Marmara,
شهداء الأمة
we will not forget them. We will not forget them. When we enter Al-Aqsa and pray the prayer and make the sujood of Fatih, liberation, we will not forgive them and we will make dua for them. We would like to thank you, Jiddan. We would like to thank you very much for this this important conference. I am really appreciating what you have done in this conference, and I really appreciate the work. I'm really pleased with what I have heard from the different people. It has been a pleasure. I'd like to thank you, and we'll see you again, inshallah. Assalamu alaikum.
Aleykümselam ve rahmetullah. Bizler de bu duaya iştirak ediyoruz.
We would like to thank
Özgür Kudüs'te bizleri cem eylesin. Efendim katkılarından dolayı Hamas Siyasi Büro Başkanı Dr.
Thank you very much for their contributions to Dr. Ismail Haniyeh, and we give them our appreciation. Inshallah, we will be one in Mescid Al-Aqsa one day. With the speech of the Ismail Haniyeh, we are ending the opening session of the symposium. We have finished our first session as the opening session, and it will last for 2 days and consisted of 8 sessions. And also there will be a closing session declared, sorry. And you will follow them through these channels in Turkish, in English, and in Arabic. And we would like to hear this very contributed and important event to reach everyone, dear professors, dear academics, and Dr. Ismail Haniyeh. We would like to thank them for being here. 21st of the Islamic Jerusalem International Conference is opening session will end here. Inshallah, this steadiness, this labor will not go in vain. Cuma Mubarak. Thank you.